The dark expanse of space rippled as three sleek vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond the orbit of Mars. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent material unknown to Earth science, at least officially. Inside the lead ship, Ambassador Krell adjusted his breathing apparatus and gazed at the blue planet displayed on the main view screen. "So primitive," he said, his four-fingered hand dismissively waving at the image. "They've barely left their own atmosphere," his science officer Trell nodded in agreement. "Their most advanced satellites are rudimentary at best. They've sent a few basic probes to nearby planets, but nothing beyond their solar system." "Perfect," Krell replied. "The Council will be pleased. Another resource-rich world with minimal resistance." What the aliens didn't know was that their conversation was being monitored deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't exist on any public record. Commander Reed listened intently. Her calm expression betrayed none of the anger she felt at the aliens' dismissive tone. "They're exactly as arrogant as we expected," she told the grim-faced military and government officials gathered around the conference table. "Operation Deception is now active," the president nodded. "What's the status of the Thunderbolt?" Reed pressed a button on her tablet, bringing up a live feed from space. The image showed a massive vessel hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, its dark hull nearly invisible against the gas giant's swirling storms. "Captain Miller reports all systems are green. They're watching everything but remain undetected." "Good," the president said. "Let's play our parts well, ladies and gentlemen. The future of Earth depends on it." 3 days later, the alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere with a theatrical display of lights and sound, designed to awe the primitives below. They landed on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., surrounded by military cordons and watched by billions on screens worldwide. Ambassador Krell emerged from his ship, flanked by guards and assistants. His tall, slender frame and blue-tinged skin caused gasps from the crowd. He wore what appeared to be ceremonial robes, though in reality they contained advanced defensive technology. The president stepped forward, leading a delegation of world leaders assembled hastily for this historic moment. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you," he said, arms spread wide in a gesture of peace. Krell inclined his head slightly as the translator device at his throat converted his clicks and hums into English. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council, young ones. We have watched your development with interest." The carefully orchestrated meeting proceeded exactly as the aliens had planned. They spoke of peace, cooperation, and cultural exchange. Earth's leaders appeared appropriately awed and grateful for the attention of such advanced beings. Later that evening, in a private meeting with world leaders, Krell revealed the true nature of their visit. "Your world has been classified as a Class 3 developing planet," he explained, projecting a holographic document. "This entitles you to Council protection and guidance." "What exactly does that mean for Earth?" asked the president, feigning ignorance. Krell smiled, displaying teeth too perfectly aligned to be natural. "It means we will help you advance at an appropriate pace. We will establish outposts to monitor your development and ensure you don't harm yourselves." "That sounds generous," the president replied, matching Krell's condescending tone with apparent sincerity. "We have much to learn." What Krell couldn't see was the hidden communication device in the president's watch, transmitting everything to Commander Reed's facility, and beyond to the Thunderbolt waiting silently in Jupiter's shadow. Captain James Miller floated in the observation deck of the Thunderbolt, watching the live feed from Earth. At 45, Miller had spent half his life in the secret space program, training for this moment. His weathered face remained expressionless as he listened to the aliens' hollow promises. "Captain," called his first officer, Lisa Parker. "Engineer Thompson wants you in the engine room." Miller nodded and pushed off, gliding through the ship's main corridor with the ease of someone born to zero gravity. The Thunderbolt was humanity's masterpiece, a vessel built using technology reverse-engineered from an alien craft that had crashed in Antarctica nearly 80 years ago. In the engine room, Jack Thompson was hunched over a console displaying complex equations. "You should see this, Captain," Thompson said without looking up, his hands moving rapidly over the controls. "I've been analyzing their propulsion signatures. Their FTL drive is surprisingly inefficient." Miller raised an eyebrow. Thompson finally looked up, a glint in his eye. "It means our modifications actually make our engines about 20% faster than theirs. They aren't as advanced as they think." Miller allowed himself a small smile. "Keep that information secure. Any other observations?" "Their communication systems are leaking data. They think they're encrypted, but Dr. Chen cracked their basic protocols within hours. We're getting tactical data, personnel records, everything." Miller nodded. "Good. What about their weapons?" "Standard energy-based systems. Our shields should hold against them, especially with the adaptations we've made." "Excellent work. Keep monitoring." Miller turned to leave but paused. "And Jack, not a word about our advantages to anyone outside the command crew." "Of course, Captain." Back on Earth, Ambassador Krell met privately with his team aboard their ship, unaware of the sophisticated listening devices hidden within its structure. "These humans are even more primitive than our initial scan suggested," he told his officers. "They're practically falling over themselves to please us." His security chief, Darv, looked less convinced. "I don't trust their easy acceptance. Most species show at least some resistance." Krell waved away the concern. "They're like children discovering there are adults in the universe. Their technology is centuries behind ours. What resistance could they possibly offer?" "What about the resource extraction plan?" asked Trell. "We'll begin surveys immediately," Krell replied. "Their oceans contain remarkable mineral concentrations, and their forests will provide excellent biological samples. We'll start with requests for samples, then gradually increase our presence, and if they object." Darv pressed. "Then we remind them of their place in the galactic hierarchy. The Council has already approved limited military action if needed." What Krell didn't know was that every word was being transmitted to Commander Reed's facility, where analysts were building a complete profile of the aliens' intentions and capabilities. 1 week after first contact, the alien delegation requested a tour of Earth's most advanced technology centers. Earth's leaders carefully choreographed visits to facilities that displayed exactly the level of technology the aliens expected, advanced enough to impress primitives, but nowhere near the aliens' true capabilities. Meanwhile, Director Boreer Wilson stood in Earth's real technological crown jewel, a massive shipyard built into the dark side of the moon. Before him, 3 ships similar to the Thunderbolt were in various stages of completion. "How soon?" he asked the chief engineer. "The Defiant can be ready in 3 weeks. The Valiant and Resolute need another 2 months," she replied. Wilson nodded. "Speed it up if possible. I don't think our visitors plan to stay friendly for long." As he spoke, a message arrived from Earth. The aliens had begun setting up monitoring stations around the planet, devices that were actually resource analyzers and tactical positions. The game of deception had begun in earnest. Earth appeared welcoming and naive while secretly preparing for the moment diplomacy would fail. Aboard the Thunderbolt, Captain Miller floated through the ship's central corridor toward the bridge. The vessel was running silent, hidden in Jupiter's shadow. Only essential systems remained active as they monitored the alien communications. The bridge was dimly lit, designed to preserve night vision and reduce power signatures. Miller arrived, and First Officer Parker announced, "Captain on the bridge." "Status report," Miller said, strapping himself into the command chair. "All systems nominal," Parker replied. "We've intercepted some interesting communications in the past hour. The aliens are discussing bringing in survey teams for Earth's oceans." "Put it on screen." The main display lit up with a transcript of the intercepted alien communication. Miller read it carefully, his jaw tightening. "They're not even trying to hide their intentions," he said. "These aren't survey teams, they're resource extraction planners." "Yes, sir," said Communications Officer Ben Hayes. "They're specifically interested in rare earth elements and uranium deposits. Miller tapped his fingers on the armrest. What's the status of our improvements to the weapon systems? Jack has been working around the clock, Parker said. The modifications to the main cannons are complete. According to simulations, they're now 30% more powerful than standard Galactic Council weaponry, and they still don't know we're here. No, sir. Our stealth systems are holding. They've sent scout ships through the system, but none have detected us. Miller nodded. Good. Keep monitoring their communications. I want to know the moment their tone changes from friendly visitors to resource collectors. Back on Earth, Ambassador Krell walked through a carefully selected technology company, nodding politely as human executives showed him their advanced computer systems. Very impressive for your development stage, he said, his translator making his condescending tone sound almost sincere. Thank you, Ambassador, replied the company's CEO. We're very proud of our progress. Krell gestured to one of his aides, who stepped forward with a small device. As a gesture of goodwill, I'd like to offer you this data storage unit. It contains basic educational materials about some simple technologies your people might find useful. That's very generous, the CEO said, accepting the device with appropriate awe. What the humans didn't reveal was that identical alien gifts had been thoroughly examined in secret labs beneath the very building they stood in. Earth scientists had already determined the devices contained monitoring software and carefully limited technology designed to guide human development along paths beneficial to the Galactic Council. As Krell left the building, Commander Reed watched from a car across the street. She spoke quietly into her secure communicator. The package has been delivered and isolated in Lab 4. Compare with the previous samples. Yes, Commander, came the reply. Initial analysis shows the same tracking software, but some new surveying applications. They're getting impatient, Reed mused. Keep me updated. That evening, engineer Jack Thompson sat alone in his quarters aboard the Thunderbolt, surrounded by holographic schematics. The room glowed with the blue light of projected alien technology designs, comparing them with his modifications. There was a knock at his door. Come in, he called, not looking up from his work. Captain Miller entered, carrying 2 pouches of coffee, a luxury aboard the ship. Thought you could use this, Miller said, handing one to Jack. Thanks, Captain. Thompson took a grateful sip. I've been analyzing their shield harmonics from the data we've intercepted. There's a fundamental flaw in their approach. Show me. Thompson manipulated the hologram, highlighting a section of the alien shield design. They use a fixed frequency modulation for their shields. It's powerful but predictable. Our adaptive system shifts frequencies constantly, making it much harder to penetrate. Miller studied the display. How did they miss this? Complacency, maybe, Thompson shrugged. When you're the biggest kid on the block for thousands of years, you stop looking for better ways to do things. And what does that mean for us in a fight? It means, Thompson said with a small smile, that our shields will hold against their weapons far longer than their shields will hold against ours. Miller nodded. Keep this to yourself for now. If we have to fight, I want every advantage we can get. In the secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Reed and the President reviewed the latest intelligence. They've set up monitoring stations on every continent now, Reed said, pointing to the map. And yesterday they began atmospheric sampling over our major cities. Looking for what? The President asked. Resources, vulnerabilities, biological samples, standard procedure. The President's face was grim. How much longer should we maintain the charade? Director Wilson reports the lunar fleet will be ready in 6 weeks, Reed replied. The Thunderbolt is fully operational and positioned to respond if needed. And what about our guests? The President nodded toward the ceiling, indicating the alien delegation now occupying a diplomatic compound in Washington. Ambassador Krell has requested a meeting with the United Nations next week, Reed said. Based on intercepted communications, we believe he's going to present their formal protection agreement, which will include resource rights, limited technology transfers, restricted development paths, and a permanent alien presence on Earth, standard council procedure for Class 3 worlds. The president stood and walked to the window, looking out at the mountain range. Humanity has faced many turning points in its history. I never thought first contact would be one where we'd have to deceive visitors from another world just to protect our independence. With respect, sir, Reed said quietly, they came with deception in their hearts. We're just playing the same game. The difference is, the president said, they think they're the only ones who know the real rules. On the moon, welding sparks from the nearly completed warships lit up the darkness of the hidden shipyard. In Jupiter's shadow, the Thunderbolt waited silently. Earth's hidden fleet was taking shape, preparing for the moment humanity would show the Galactic Council that this young world wasn't as helpless as they thought. 6 months after first contact, Earth's leaders gathered in the United Nations Assembly Hall. The room buzzed with tension as Ambassador Krell strode confidently to the podium. Behind him, a delegation of alien officials watched with barely concealed satisfaction. Esteemed leaders of Earth, Krell began. His translator converted his clicks and whistles into smooth English. The time has come to formalize our relationship. The Galactic Council has prepared a protection agreement for your world. A holographic document appeared above the podium, slowly rotating for all to see. This agreement will usher your species into a new era of guided development and prosperity, Krell continued. The Council has been most generous in its terms. The document stopped rotating and expanded, revealing its contents section by section. Earth will provide access to 40% of its natural resources, with particular focus on rare minerals and biological specimens. In exchange, we will provide limited technological assistance in approved areas. Uninhabited regions of your planet will be designated for Council research stations and settlements. We require the complete northern polar region, selected desert areas, and approximately 30% of your ocean floor. Murmurs ran through the assembly. The President of the United States, maintaining the facade of shocked concern, raised his hand. Ambassador Krell, these terms seem quite extensive. Krell's four-fingered hand waved dismissively. For a Class 3 world, these are standard terms. In fact, they are quite generous. Many worlds are required to provide up to 60% of their resources. And what happens if we find these terms unacceptable? Asked the Chinese premier. For the first time, Krell's diplomatic mask slipped slightly. The agreement is not optional. It is the Council's will. You have 72 Earth hours to formally accept these terms. As the assembly erupted in controlled chaos, exactly as Earth's leaders had planned, Commander Reed slipped out of the hall and into a secure communications room. It's happening, she said into her encrypted communicator. Krell just delivered the ultimatum. We have 72 hours. Understood, Director Wilson's voice came through clearly. Operation Revelation is now active. The fleet will be ready. The hidden shipyard burst into frenetic activity. The 3 warships, Defiant, Valiant, and Resolute, were in their final stages of preparation. Work crews moved with practiced urgency, completing the last connections and system checks. I want all 3 ships at full combat readiness in 48 hours, Wilson called out in the control center. Transfer all non-essential personnel back to Earth, load all weapon systems, and activate all defense grids. His assistant hurried alongside him. Sir, we're getting reports that more alien ships have entered the solar system, 7 vessels larger than the diplomatic ships. They were planning this all along. They brought reinforcements for when we inevitably objected to their generous terms. Should we warn the Thunderbolt? Wilson asked. Captain Miller already knows, Reed replied. He's been tracking them since they crossed Neptune's orbit. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Captain Miller studied the tactical display with his officers. 7 warships. Standard Galactic Council battle formation, First Officer Parker observed. They're not expecting any resistance. Miller said, this is a show of force, not a real invasion fleet. Communications Officer Hayes looked up. Captain, we've received new orders from Earth Command. Operation Revelation is active. We are to proceed to Position Alpha and await final command. Miller nodded. Lieutenant Park, plot a course that keeps us out of their sensor range. Chief Thompson, I want engines at 100% when we break cover. Yes, sir, Thompson replied from the engineering station. The modifications to the drive are complete, we'll be faster than anything they've got. Miller turned to his weapons officer. Arm all systems, but keep them powered down until my command. We don't want to give away any surprises too early. As the crew prepared for their first real combat mission, Miller retreated to his ready room. He activated his personal log, Captain's log, Earth date April 15th. After decades of preparation, humanity is about to reveal itself to the galaxy as more than just another primitive world to be harvested. I can't help but wonder if the Council has ever faced a species that fought back effectively. Whatever happens in the next 72 hours will change the course of human history forever. Back on Earth, Commander Reed entered a secure underground bunker where Earth's top leaders had gathered. Screens around the room showed the alien ships now in orbit, deliberately positioned to be visible from Earth's surface, a not-so-subtle threat. "What's the status of our fleet?" asked the President. "The lunar shipyard reports all 3 vessels will be combat-ready within 48 hours, Reed replied. "The Thunderbolt is moving into position, and the aliens haven't detected any of our preparations." Reed shook her head. "Their arrogance is our greatest advantage. They're so convinced of our technological inferiority that they're not even looking for advanced energy signatures. Our stealth systems are more than adequate to fool their passive scans." The Russian president spoke up. "When do we reveal our hand?" "At the last possible moment," Reed answered. "We want them completely committed to their current strategy." "And what about civilian populations?" asked the Indian Prime Minister. "Evacuation plans for major cities are ready," Reed said, "but I don't think they'll target civilians. The Council wants our resources, not a devastated planet." The President stood and addressed the room. "For decades we've prepared for this moment, since we recovered that crashed ship from Antarctica. We knew this day would come. Humanity will not become another vassal species, harvested for the benefit of the Galactic Council." At that moment, Ambassador Krell was surprised when he received a message that Earth's leaders wished to meet with him ahead of schedule. Perhaps these primitives were more sensible than he expected. Quick acceptance of the inevitable would make the transition much smoother. He arrived at the White House with his senior staff and was escorted to the cabinet room, where Earth's most powerful leaders waited. "Ambassador," the President greeted him with a somber nod. "We've reviewed your terms and, you've made the wise choice to accept them promptly." Krell said nothing, merely inclined his head. "Actually," the President continued carefully, "we have some concerns we'd like to discuss." Krell's expression hardened. "The terms are not negotiable." "Perhaps," the President said, "but there seems to be some unusual energy readings coming from the moon that your ships might want to investigate before we proceed." For the first time, uncertainty flashed across Krell's alien features. "The moon? What readings?" The President smiled slightly. "Just some primitive nuclear testing, I'm sure, nothing that would concern an advanced civilization like yours." As Krell reached for his communicator, he became suddenly aware that something was very wrong. Earth's 72 hours were already counting down toward the moment of truth. The Grand Hall of the United Nations had been transformed for the formal acceptance ceremony. Ornate decorations covered the walls, and a raised platform stood at the center for Earth to officially sign away its independence. Ambassador Krell, dismissive of the strange comment about the moon, assumed it was just a human delay tactic. More important arrivals demanded his attention. Admiral Vex, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Council's enforcement fleet, had entered Earth's orbit with his battle group. The Admiral himself would oversee the signing ceremony, a rare honor for a Class 3 world. Admiral Vex was tall even for his species, with gray-blue skin darkened with age and prominent facial ridges marking his high rank. His ceremonial uniform glittered with medals from 100 planetary conquests, none of which had required actual fighting. Ambassador Krell, the Admiral's deep voice rumbled through his translator as they met in the preparation room. Your reports indicate these humans are particularly docile. They had some minor objections to the resource quotas. They seem to have accepted reality now, Krell replied. Vex nodded. Good. The Council is particularly interested in this world's biological diversity. The Science Division has identified several promising compounds in Earth's oceans. The northern polar region will also provide an excellent location for the new military base. Krell added, from there we can monitor the next 3 systems we plan to investigate. Very good. Let us proceed with the ceremony. High above Earth, hidden in synchronous orbit behind a small communication satellite, Captain Miller and the crew of the Thunderbolt watched as 3 more ships emerged from lunar shadows. Defiant, Valiant, and Resolute moved silently into their assigned positions, their advanced stealth systems invisible to standard Galactic Council sensors. All ships report ready, First Officer Parker announced. Miller nodded. Open a secure channel to all vessels. When the connection was established, Miller addressed the fleet, this is Captain Miller. For decades, humanity has prepared for this moment. Today, we show the Galactic Council that Earth will not be another harvested world in their collection. Our mission is to disable, not destroy, send a message, not start a war. We can't win a protracted conflict. Stick to your assigned targets and remember your training. Miller out. He turned to his weapons officer. Status of our weapon systems. All systems green, Captain, the weapons officer replied. Main cannons charged and ready, adaptive shield generators at full power. Communications Officer Hayes looked up. Channel open to Earth Command. They're waiting for our signal to begin. Miller took a deep breath. Send the confirmation. Operation Revelation is go. Inside the United Nations Hall, Admiral Vex approached the podium as world leaders watched with solemn expressions. Camera drones hovered around the room, broadcasting the historic moment to billions worldwide. People of Earth, Vex began, his translator giving his voice a metallic edge, today marks your world's formal entry into the greater galactic community under the protection of the Council. Your species will be guided toward a more productive future. In the audience, the President made eye contact with Commander Reed, who nodded slightly and touched her earpiece. Before we proceed with the signing, Vex continued, I will outline the immediate changes that will. He stopped mid-sentence as an aide rushed to his side, whispering urgently. Vex's expression changed from confidence to confusion. What do you mean, unknown ships, he hissed, forgetting his translator broadcast every word. The President stood. Is something wrong, Admiral? Before Vex could answer, the large view screens around the hall, intended to show the signing ceremony, suddenly displayed a live feed from space, 4 Earth warships appearing as if from nowhere, surrounding the alien fleet. Gasps filled the room as billions of humans saw their secret fleet revealed for the first time. The ships were massive, their sleek black hulls marked with the flags of multiple Earth nations, their designs clearly incorporating alien technology but with distinctly human modifications. Admiral Vex stared at the screens in disbelief. This is some kind of trick. The screen split, and Captain Miller's face appeared. This is Captain James Miller of the Earth Defense Vessel Thunderbolt. Admiral Vex, Ambassador Krell, your ships are now surrounded. Earth rejects the terms of your so-called protection agreement. Krell turned to the President, his composure completely shattered. What is the meaning of this? You don't have this technology. It seems we do, the President replied calmly. Perhaps your assessment of Earth was incomplete. In orbit, the alien fleet scrambled to battle positions. Inside the Thunderbolt, Miller watched as enemy ships formed a defensive formation. They're powering up weapons, reported the tactical officer. Raise shields, Miller ordered. Maintain position but do not fire unless fired upon. On the main view screen, Admiral Vex's furious face appeared again. Whatever primitive weapons you've cobbled together are no match for a Council battle group. Power down your ships immediately or face destruction. Miller remained calm. Admiral, we've been studying your technology for decades. We know exactly what your ships can do, and what our ships can do to them. We're not looking for a fight, but we won't surrender our world to become another resource farm. This is absurd, Vex sputtered. Your species is barely space-capable. That's what we wanted you to think, Miller replied. Now, here are our terms. The Galactic Council will recognize Earth as a sovereign, independent world with full rights. All Council ships will withdraw from our solar system immediately. We will establish normal diplomatic relations afterward, as equals. Vex laughed harshly. You're in no position to make demands. At that moment, one of the alien destroyers broke formation and fired a warning shot that passed close to the Defiant. Miller didn't hesitate. All ships, execute Pattern Alpha. Target weapons and propulsion systems. Only the Earth fleet moved with surprising